Hello, I'm Bill Galvano, and welcome to Weekly Update. You know, so often today we hear about the challenges with our economy. But right here in Manatee County, we have some good news. And here to bring us that good news today is my guest, Mr. Rex Jensen. Rex is the president and CEO of Schrader Manatee Ranch, Inc., the developer of Lakewood Ranch. Welcome, Rex.
Thank you, Bill. Good to be here.
Rex, I recently saw a release from Lakewood Ranch that said home sales are soaring. Is that true?
Comparatively, absolutely. We just finished the month of April and had 49 new home sales that month. That is far from our pace at the peak of the market, but the point of it is we've begun selling new homes in a variety of price ranges again, and that's really good to see.
Yeah, that's fantastic to see. I mean, we hear about the saturation in the market and no one's coming. Who are these people buying these homes?
Well, again, there are a variety of folks ranging from country club dwellers to lake club residents, which is our highest end product. Some of those homes go for as high as $6 to $8 million. And we have had, over the course of the last year, as many sales in the Lake Club in that price range as occurred in the entire Sarasota County in that price range in a month. So it shows that Lakewood Ranch at the high end of the market,
which is Manatee County.
Which is Manatee County, has I should have made that point clear, because that's really what was behind my comment, is that the economy in Manatee County is beginning to improve, at least in Lakewood Ranch. The other thing that I'm very proud of is when Lakewood Ranch started, we started with young families. We started with homes that range from $89,000 to $129,000. And when the market really became overheated, we lost touch with that market segment. We've got it back now with Pat Neal's Central Park. And since that project has opened last July, they made their 100th home sale this past week. So again, we're getting young families back into Lakewood Ranch. We've got a broad cross-section of homes. It isn't all just one narrow price band. The average home price in Lakewood Ranch in the last 6 months was $529,000. And that included both the high-end Lake Club and the more moderately priced Central Park.
And so these are people who are now living in Manatee County, contributing to the Manatee County economy, and becoming part of our community.
Yes, and not only are they increasing the tax base at a time when the tax base in general is declining. I mean, I read an article in the newspaper about that both Manatee and Sarasota County are still looking in aggregate for a decline in the tax base through 2012. That's bad. And the tax base in Lakewood Ranch is increasing while it is declining elsewhere. And I'm very proud, not proud that it's declining elsewhere, but I'm proud that in the midst of that economic chaos, that at least there's one bright light in the area.
Well, and I think it's not by chance that it's a bright light. You have a master plan community at Lakewood Ranch, one that I understand is ranked nationally. I think it's like the #2 ranked community in the state of Florida.
In the state of Florida, in terms of sales, we're #2. I think we're number 12 nationally.
In the entire United States.
In the entire United States, number 12.
And what is that ranking based on?
It's based upon new home sales in things called master plan communities. I don't know what their cutoff size is for how big a community has to be to make the list, but they're very large communities ranging in the thousands of acres in terms of size. And they are monitored by several different consulting firms throughout the United States and then ranked each year in terms of their aggregate number of home sales.
Can you define for us a master planned community?
Yeah, a master planned community basically is distinct from smaller, more localized subdivisions. where it's all homes and nothing else. A master plan community will also contain a good mix of parks, churches, more often than not shopping, more often than not other employment such as office facilities, hopefully schools. The intent of a master plan community is to have a mix of uses so that people don't have to travel for everything, that we can cut down the amount of miles per year that we drive and actually do things a little more locally. And that's been the hallmark of the master plan community.
And Lakewood Ranch is a phenomenal example of that. All of those attributes you just discussed, we can find out at Lakewood Ranch. And I think maybe it was you who said when this community was being planned, you were planning way ahead. I think a great quote that I like is you wanted to be 2 schools ahead of need.
2 schools ahead of demand, because again, what more important factor is there? Even if you're retired, you try to buy a home in an area that has good schools because of support for the resale value of the home. The last thing you want to do is buy a house and lose money, and even though people have, and they have in Lakewood Ranch to some degree, our property value declines have been much less than elsewhere, and in part of that, I think it's the supportive uses, the lifestyle, the fact that we have not scrimped on keeping the place clean, the grass cut, the community up in general. And I think all of those things are important to maintain property values at a time when the pressure is for them to go down.
And I think that's a great point, because while you have the appraisal side of the economy, maintaining a quality of life adds value.
Right.
Value that sometimes can't be measured, but is there nonetheless.
And I think it's that saved us, and that allowed us to turn the corner. Because when we first started at the worst of the crisis, we had about 850 homes on the foreclosure, resale, short sale, I just want to sell my house market. We have about 7,000 up in Lakewood Ranch. So in terms of a percentage of a community that's for sale, that was quite a few. It was not as a percentage as high as it was immediately outside our boundary, but it's still high. And having that many homes for sale meant that there were few new homes being built because people could buy a used home at a bargain price, cheaper even than one could build new.
The saturated market, if you will.
But during that time, we grew at the rate of about 300 families per year. And that 850 homes that was there on the resale market in 2007 is down to about 150 right now that are listed on the multi-listing service in Lakewood Ranch. So that if what you're after is a resale in Lakewood Ranch, many of them have been picked over. There are many fewer on the market, and now that equation of does it make sense to build a home versus buy an existing home has begun to shift, and that's why we've started to sell new homes again.
Okay, so we're clear, you're building homes. We talked about sales.
You can see people now swinging a hammer. You can see people stacking cement blocks. You can see good average human beings working again.
You can see jobs.
You can see jobs, jobs, jobs. And that is so big because your heart just goes out to people who live from paycheck to paycheck and they're not getting a paycheck. And when I drove down a street in Country Club the other day and actually had trouble navigating between all the construction traffic and trucks parked on the side of the road, I thought, you know what? This is paradise again because we've got people who deserve to work are actually working. We've got 130 homes under construction right now.
130 homes. And all the jobs that go along with constructing 130 homes.
And again, to me, that's what it's all about. All of this is about economic development. All about this, this is basically the survival of the American family. What do you do if you don't have a paycheck? I mean, that is dreadful.
Well, and that's the cornerstone of every movement that's taking place within the country in the state of Florida. That's the goal that they have in Tallahassee, to create that economic growth. And you seem to have a great model for doing that.
I'd like to hope so.
Let's talk about Main Street. I know many of our viewers have been out to Main Street in Lakewood Ranch, and that's just an exciting area of commercial property and retail. How has that survived through this tough economy?
It's been tough, but I'd like to point out that the vacancy rate for Main Street is maybe in the neighborhood of 12 to 14% for retail, which is unheard of in terms of being low. Many other shopping centers are much more vacant than that. We've had some tenants who have had their difficulties. Some of them failed. We've replaced some. And we have a number of new tenants that are coming into Main Street. We've got a Viking cooking school, a very high-end culinary art school.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a little bit, because that's exciting. It seems like today, every time you turn on the TV, it's either Iron Chef or the Food Channel, Food Network. That's a big part of American life today, and Viking is a national school, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It has a national franchise, and they also make very good kitchen equipment. So I think that's one reason why the company began to sponsor also on a franchise basis cooking schools to advertise their kitchen equipment as well. But the point of it is, we're about to set up an area of Main Street that is going to be related to food preparation. I can't really give you a lot of the details because we're still working on 2 more leases for that particular area. We had a large tenant fail. We had a organic health food store fail. And we're just simply using that as an opportunity to divide up space that was too big for them to carry into more manageable size, which causes us to have to spend money to do it. But I think at the end of the day, we'll be able to have 4 or 5 spaces that are much more easy for us to rent and people to carry once they've rented. And I think we're going to cluster a number of users that will relate to that cooking school that I think the community will just love.
Great, and I understand there may be a new restaurant coming out there.
Yes, we've got a seafood restaurant. We also have an interesting place called Fast and Fresh, which is a salad and sandwich shop, which again we can use more lunch places, because we have, I think now, even in this bad economy, we have 12,000 9-to-5 on-site office and retail jobs in Lakewood Ranch alone.
12,000?
12,000. At the peak of the economy, we had about 15,000. But many of our businesses were in the finance, insurance, real estate end of things, which is the economy that has been hit, portion of the economy that's been hit the hardest. But we're still at 12,000 jobs. And when you stop and think about that, 20 years ago, our goal was to create 2 jobs for every home that we sold. We're there, even in this bad economy. And that's an economic development track record that I don't know of any community in the state of Florida that has achieved that.
Well, that's fantastic, and that's a good goal. And so has the goal changed now to make it 3 for 1, or?
Well, that's a little rich mixture in terms of employment, because when you start getting over the number we've got, you end up shipping people in the morning and out at night. You begin to lose that balance of living and working in the same place, because again, not that many people are going to live in your community if you start to get multiples of the number of jobs that we have.
And again, that's the value of that type of community, the value of having a Main Street amongst all the residential units, because it is about community as much as anything else. And I know you have some really neat events that take place on Main Street, I should say. One that is starting or has started, the Music
on Main. We do that on the first Friday of every month. And So far this year, we use those events to feature a charity each time we do it. And we've raised $15,000 this year for various charities just through little incidental sales that occur at these events for the benefit of a given charity. And we rotate the charity every month. But we have thousands of people out there, and quite often I'll encounter people from Anna Maria Island who go there on the first Friday of every evening. You talk about flipping the paradigm.
Right.
I mean, usually it's the other way around. People go to the beach, but to have the beach come to Lakewood Ranch is unheard of.
Well, I hear from a lot of people, not just on the western part of Manatee County, not just from the western part of Manatee County, but really from around the region, who will make a day trip of it to visit Lakewood Ranch, to go to Main Street. They're there for sporting events, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But I did want to, while I was thinking about it, let you know that while I was in Tallahassee, Lakewood Ranch would come up all the time as an example of how Florida could be developed and move forward. So you're to be commended on that, as well as your whole team.
Well, thank you, and thank whoever raised that as the example.
With regard to sports, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on? Because it's really exciting what you all are doing out there from a sports perspective.
Well, what we really wanted to do was a small project. Didn't turn out very small, but we wanted to do something that would put us as a county at the epicenter of amateur sports. And what's an iconic sport that lots of people play? Answer, soccer. So we decided, we grow sod for a living. We did the polo club. We did the soccer fields at Lakewood Ranch High School. We know something about turf and planting grass and growing it. So on the downside, if it didn't work, we could always turn it into a sod farm. But the point of it is when you have children and you follow them around the tournament circuit, stop and think about your own experience. You spend, for a 2-day tournament, you at least spend 4 days in the area. And we started to think, if we could lure large tournaments to this area, we could have a huge economic development spin-off in terms of tourism, hospitality, restaurants, the very segments of our economy that need the help. We can also expose a number of people who otherwise wouldn't have seen this area to a very wonderful area. And over the course of time, I think they'll come back if they have a good experience. So increasing those tourist dollars, I think, is imperative for this area to keep, as a goal. We went out and we found a guy by the name of Tim Mulqueen, who has all the contacts in the Western Hemisphere on soccer with the sports governing organizations and all the associations. We just recently finished growing in our first 8 fields. And just as those got ready, we booked our first tournament. It was the state Florida High School Championships. We had 1,200 players, about 4,000 people on our first event.
It's about, what, 64 teams, something?
64 teams, yeah. And it just worked wonderfully. And it was good to see. It was good to see our company pulling together the various disciplines we had, from the agriculture to our PR, our marketing people. Everybody got involved. We had various employees parking cars. It was just great to see the folks pitch in and make this thing work.
And these people were coming to Lakewood Ranch, but they were also coming to Manatee County.
Well, and that's the point. And they had such a good time, Bill, they're coming back. And they're going to be doing a number of tournaments here in Manatee County because of that field. And that, I think, is what we can really do to help out, because if we can give people a taste of this place, they'll come back.
Oh, I believe it. Well, some of our viewers may not realize you talked a little bit in your description there about the farm element. SMR Farms, and a affiliate of Schrader Manatee Ranch Inc., is in the farming business. Can you tell us a little bit about
Well, we have one of the largest agricultural operations in the two-county area. We grow citrus, turf. We grow a lot of row crops on the property, have a large cattle operation. We are truly a working ranch. And
hence the name.
Hence the name. And the name is not an epithet that we made up for marketing purposes. It's very descriptive of what we do. I'm a farmer, not a real estate developer. And we've got one of the neatest group of people who work in our agricultural division. They're very committed to agriculture. They're very proud of what they do. We had one group of folks who entered a rodeo competition, and they won a trip to the national finals. And they're on their way to Texas very shortly, if they're not already on the way. I don't know when they're leaving, but the trip is imminent, and they're going to go compete in the national working ranch competition. We've got a couple of cowboys from our ranch that are going to it. They formed their own team. They're taking a pickup with trailers hauling their horses and feed and everything else. There are 5 guys in the pickup getting to know each other very, very well on the way to Texas from here. So I hope they come back with a trophy.
That would be fantastic. Bring it back home. And that is amazing, because there's so many components to what Schrader Manatee Ranch is about out there, and it's good for the viewers to realize that you have such a cross section. I know I've for years have enjoyed going out in when you have your polo Sundays, and I think many people from the community and really from around the state and other states come out and watch your polo matches.
Yeah, they come from Pinellas County and as far south as Naples. I know because I've talked to them. Hundreds of people each and every Sunday religiously come and have a good tailgate Sunday.
And those fields are beautiful. Now your golf, that's my sport.
Yes, it is.
and I really am proud of the fact that you have the type of championship courses that you do at Lakewood Ranch, because they're here in Manatee County. And in fact, in about a week from now, a week from tomorrow, we'll hold the 15th annual Phil Galvano Classic at Legacy. And so we're excited about the level of golf play you have out there.
Well, and that's another thing that I guess maybe I sound too proud, but you know, I'm very proud of the golf operation. There are many courses in today's world, the economy being as bad as it is, that have lost tons of members. We have lost members too, but we're adding more than we're losing, and that's unheard of in the golf industry. We've got, I think, a great club manager. He's got a great, hardworking staff. And we've really tried where we can to take care of the members by, even in this bad economy, adding some improvements to the course, keeping dues flat, not increasing them, and giving them value for their membership. And that's what we try to do in terms of, you buy a house in the community, you get value. You put a office building in the community, you get value for it.
And it seems there's a underlying theme here that Lakewood Ranch understands the challenges of the economy and is putting skin in the game and maintaining that quality of life, whether it's on the golf course, whether it's on Main Street, the soccer fields. And because of that commitment, it seems like you all are coming out of it.
Well, I think we're being recognized as a place that if you're going to make an investment, you've got a couple of choices. You can invest in a place that's cheap. You can and that place will probably get cheaper. You could invest in Lakewood Ranch, and I think it's more likely than not that your investment will be more protected than it will anywhere else because of those exact same things. I mean, stop and think about it. When nothing was selling, the housing market was dead, we were still adding 300 families a year to Lakewood Ranch. They were taking this 850 homes off the market at a pace of 300 homes per year. That's 600 people plus maybe 700 people moving into the community every year when most places had people moving out.
We're running short on time. Let's talk a little bit about LACOM, the Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, and some of what's going on with them.
Well, I think that they are an institution that this entire community, and by that I mean the two-county area, should be totally proud of. Dr. Ferretti and her staff have made a huge investment in facilities, but also if you stop and think about the importance of health care to this community, the age of the population, and just the flat need for well-trained people to serve our citizens, LECOM has done it and continues to do it. They have also added a pharmacy school. They've added they're in the throes right now of adding a dentistry school. That's an entity that is committed to the community, is putting their money where their mouth is in a bad time and making an immediate, tangible, beneficial impact to the entire area.
Well, we're very pleased to have LACOM in this area, and I know the delegation, along with a lot of community partners, worked hard to see that come to fruition a few years back, and it just seems to have prospered right there in Lakewood Ranch. Rex, what are your challenges?
Well, the challenges are the economy, the economy, the economy. Whatever we do, I liken the economy to a three-ring circus, and the event in the three-ring circus that you always think about is the clowns that come out of the Volkswagen. You know, when a Volkswagen comes out and out pop 6 clowns, you think, well, that's no big deal. You can fit 6 clowns in a Volkswagen. But when the 20th one comes out, you think there can't possibly be another clown in the Volkswagen. I'll still bet you, even though we've had 22 clowns come out of that Volkswagen, there's probably 22, 23, and 24 clowns there. I just don't know what they are.
And you're optimistic?
I'm optimistic. Believe me, I'm a Pollyanna compared with many people. I'd shoot myself if I weren't.
Rex Jensen, I really appreciate you taking time to speak with us here today on Weekly Update. Is there any final thought you'd like to leave us with? Well,
I would hope that out of this bad economy, people recognize what the logical consequence of those who speak against growth, what if they really had their way, would happen. We see it right now. And it's that kind of an attitude, that kind of an orientation that we've got to guard against, because it'll kill us later on too once the economy improves.
Rex, thank you. Keep up the good work. We're very pleased to have Lakewood Ranch in Manatee County. And thank you all for joining us on Weekly Update, and get out to Lakewood Ranch and see what's going on.